Would you mind being the safeguard of this and making sure that nobody gets it?
Yeah. You can see. Maybe you can see.
No. I'm
Okay.
be out there. I might have a problem with this. A lot of people
That's true.
Yeah. Password is Oliver. It's gonna like do yeah. If it just pop up, you have to like time
I just wanted to let you guys know we're starting in about 10 minutes, so feel free to network with your neighbor, and I'll let you know when you're starting. All right, good evening, everyone. We'll get started. So grab a seat, make yourself comfortable, and we'll basically kick off. Does everyone hear me at the bar? We'll get started. Brian. All right. I think people are still grabbing some drinks. All right. Well, good night, everyone. I'm super excited that you're all here. As some of you may know, I flew out from Belgium essentially to organize this meetup. So I'm super happy that you all showed up. I don't live here, and I'm not that well connected here. So it's super excited to see so many people out here. So I'm Dylan. I'm the founder of Cryptominded, and Cryptominded is a website that helps beginners learn about cryptocurrencies. I'll talk a little bit more about that later, but I want to introduce Brian, who has been a great help in setting up this meetup and also in running the community. You'll introduce yourself.
So my name is Brian Schuster. The website I have is hypergent.com, where I do writing on the subject. I'm currently in the middle of a, well, we'll see where it's going to go in the future, but I'm largely connected to the cryptocurrency community through Cryptominded and other members to kind of create, industries here. And appreciate everyone coming out today. Like, one of the big things we want to do with this community, reaching out to so many people, is to really broaden the horizon of what cryptocurrency means today. A lot of times, it's such about cryptocurrency, it's just trading or just the early tech adopters who are very low in the stack. And really what we want to try to do is start expanding out beyond that to get more people interested in it. Because we really do believe this is an incredible technology. We think it's going to really take over things. That's why Dylan and I are so invested in this. We want to have San Francisco and all these events and all over the world, because we really think this can have major power. So thank you so much for coming out here. We look forward to chatting with you over the course of the night.
All right, so who has actually ever visited Cryptominded.com? That's not many. So yeah, so basically Cryptominded.com is a website that I launched 3 months ago. I was essentially getting interested in cryptocurrencies, invested a little bit in Ethereum, which worked out well, but then got more interested. I didn't want to put in more money because that would get crazy. So I figured maybe I can start adding value to this industry by building a website that people find useful. So I started putting this up in my evenings while watching Game of Thrones on the couch and watching Narcos. And it was really not meant to be this big thing, but yeah, I launched it on Product Hunt, and since then it blew up. We're still #3 in Product Hunt all time in cryptocurrencies. So Cryptominded really started as a curated directory of the best cryptocurrency resources. So basically, if you want to find exchanges or find mining resources or find crypto communities or whatsoever, podcasts, for example, you would go here and check out the collections and find these interesting websites and resources. But then what happened is we launched on Product Hunt, and really it started to be shared as a website that is ideal for beginners to learn about cryptocurrencies. And I looked at it and I was like, no, it's not. It's just this directory of resources, and you have connections, but it doesn't really help beginners learn about cryptocurrency per se. But since everyone was sharing it that way, I figured maybe it's a good idea to actually start building Cryptominded into precisely that. So a lot of people ask me questions that a lot of other people have as well, and from there on, we started actually building tools. So for example, we built Where to Buy, and Where to Buy is literally a very easy search engine to figure out like where you can buy Bitcoin or Ethereum or any other altcoin. So you just type in, I want to buy and you select your currency in your country, for example, United States or Belgium where I live. And I want to use a credit card or a SEPA bank transfer, which is a European standard for bank transfers. It would show all the exchanges. So like we're going to add in the prices here as well, so you can see exactly which is the cheap and which is the expensive exchange. But essentially here we're trying to help beginners like figure out where do I actually buy this. And then I kept having like the question, what is this token about, and like what is Urge, and what is Mothership, and what is District OS? About that you will hear later more. And I figured that there is no good website that explains that. Now there is a lot of websites that I since then discovered that are actually doing something similar. But we started building out this coin wiki into something a little bit more, which I will come back later in the evening, which I'm extremely excited about. So that's essentially what Cryptominded does. I want to introduce Karen Zhang, who has been kind enough to help us out, actually come and speak here about cryptocurrencies and share his knowledge with you. I think he's one of the most interesting speakers that we've had. And yeah, I want to welcome him on stage.
Thank you. So it's a treat for me to speak because my wife has finally come tonight, has banned me from talking about Bitcoin. I'd also like to thank Dylan, Brian, Cryptominded, and most importantly, you guys for showing up on a Thursday night. I know you guys have a lot of options. Thank you for flying with Southwest Airlines. Okay, I'm going to talk about 5 of my best ICO and crypto-related ideas ever. I've been in this space for 20 years, just kidding. But this is, I believe that people who will do well in crypto, like anything else, must learn fast. So it doesn't matter if you guys are new to crypto, which is the point of Cryptominded, you have to learn fast. If you can learn faster than others, you will catch up to the supposed experts that have been around since January 2017 for ICOs, for example, and you will pass them. Okay, so I prepared this talk specifically for you guys. Things are bolded in red. You guys know why? This is because of Facebook. Anybody know why I bolded some things in red? It's because Facebook did a quick experiment and found that people who have done, if they want you to like something, for example, on your mobile phone, they put it in red and people tend to do it. So I want you guys to please email me and tweet this out if you think I'm actually good. And if you don't want me to talk about crypto, like my wife, then okay. Who am I? I am a former Wall Street guy. Yes, I admit it. It's okay in 2017 to admit you worked on Wall Street. In 2014, when I first got into crypto, it was not okay. So I kind of covered that fact up. At Morgan Stanley, New York, I helped build their first credit default swap. It's not the first credit default swap on Wall Street or even globally, but that is a product that is now $1 trillion net notional. I just checked. Is the .com. Or just the .org. And that's across all counterparties. I went to law school. I invested in 3 startups. My record was 3 crypto startups in 2014 in August. I do not recommend you doing that. That was exhausting, and also one of them failed. The other 2 are doing okay. And I also helped the former Wikipedia co-founder on his first for-profit startup with his first investor and former COO. So this is my legal disclaimer to cover my ass. Idea number 1, ICOs are a bubble, so let adults bet on price. So what I really want to do, this I think will help you. So how many of you know what ICOs are? Okay, and how many are not sure? I'll do a quick explanation. Thank you for being brave enough to raise your hand, a couple others. ICOs are like initial public offerings or IPOs. ICOs used to be called token sales. They should still be called token sales, but now they're called initial coin offerings. That is a term that, as a former lawyer, I do not like so much because it makes it sound like they're doing an IPO, but for coins. And IPOs are what? Regulated by the SEC because they are securities. Exactly. So I think 95% or more of ICOs will drop 95% or more in value within 5 years from their current price. And the reason is because there is a power law effect that I predict will occur, and it's already happening in crypto. Just like in search, just like in social media, just like in e-commerce. Who will be the next Amazon, Google, Facebook, or crypto? That's what we're trying to find, and we're in Silicon Valley, San Francisco. So this is the perfect place to find the best cryptocurrencies from around the world. Okay. The only thing that matters, the reason I think ICOs are in a bubble, because the only thing that matters is pricing power, or what some people like to call white modes. So these are both terms that Warren Buffett uses and others. There's a VC called Leo Polovets who talks about white modes. And what does that mean? It just means, this is a fancy term for legal monopoly, and I didn't really want to put legal monopoly on my slide. But pricing power means you can make huge profits on demand. Your product, service, or shares that you're offering have to be able to make a lot of money on demand. If you think about Amazon, right, and how much many of us rely on Amazon Prime, I think I called Amazon once and was like, I don't want to use Prime anymore. And they're like, are you sure? Because you've had like, and they have the numbers like 171 packages delivered in the last 8 months. Are you sure? Like, oh yeah, maybe I'm not so sure. But basically, you need products. You need to, the token must offer a good or service or be a share in a company, if it's a security token, that can dominate a big market for a long period of time. Okay, and most of these cannot. So I'll give you an example. People ask me, what do you guys think, what do you think, Terrence, of the Airbnb token that's gonna, or this token, ICO, that's gonna compete with Airbnb? It's like, I hate it. Like, why? Like, look, it's a cool idea, right? Turning your spare bedroom into a hotel, converting long-term lease or one-year leases into hotel stays. But Airbnb is already doing it. They're new. I know a lot of people that work there. They're very happy. They're probably going to go IPO, and they have a lot of momentum, and they have a new brand, right? So if you're going to compete against the incumbent, you should pick an incumbent that's slow to innovate and change and vulnerable because customers aren't happy. Okay. I have this quote here because I used to work with an investment banker at Morgan Stanley who I organized this meeting with lawyers to meet our business people to do something called CDOs. And she basically said, why are you better than everyone else? She just was a no BS kind of person. And I like that because it makes it very clear. So I want us to be very clear on what gives tokens value. A token has to be better than all the alternatives, both online and offline, meaning both other tokens, but also they have to be better than the Airbnbs of the world if they're competing against Airbnb, because most consumers, people outside San Francisco, people outside this event, even people in San Francisco on the street, they don't care about if their item is tokenized or not. It might be worse to have it be a token and the price goes up and down. And unlike my freaking flyer miles or hotel points from Starwood, I have no idea if I have enough points to stay in New York City next week when I fly there, because the value keeps going up and down. So that actually is arguably worse. Your product has to be better, and you have to be able to make a lot of money. Otherwise, you're going to zero. Okay, so my third idea. Is everyone following along? Any questions so far? Is it too advanced, too slow, or slow? Yes, I said. Okay. All right. Security tokens in a box. And what I mean by this is there are two types of tokens: security tokens and utility tokens. Utility tokens are tokens that provide a good or service. So Filecoin is a good or service. I had lunch with a lawyer who, I was discussing this with some DC at a big private equity shop, and myself and this lawyer who shall remain nameless, and he's like, and I said, yeah, there are utility tokens and security tokens. Utility tokens provide a good or service. And he's like, but also there's Filecoin. I was like, yeah, that's a good or service. Anyway, investors treat tokens, almost all tokens, ICOs, as investments, and they are looking to make 2x, 5x, 100x, 1000x their return. This is like the dot-com era, which I'm old enough to remember, you got most of you or not. And that was horrible because, not just because I lost money in my angel investments, and so did my friends, and a lot of them got canned when the dot-com explosion happened, but also because I had to sell a lot of my own assets to raise cash to bail out my mom because she got margin call. She was day trading and she was doing really well. She had a teacher, right? And then she came up with her own system. I love my mom, my late mom. But like I had to bail her out, and I was not, the bank insurance is closed. So no. Yeah, so I'm not a fan of trading on margin, investing more than you can afford to lose, or speculating on ICOs. Look, if you want to do this instead of donating money to charity, going to club, going to Vegas, that's fine. But don't treat it like a core investment the way you would find, say, Berkshire Hathaway stock, or the S&P 500. Okay. The other reason utility tokens look like securities is because no one in their right minds ever pays money up front or gives up their valuable Ethereum or valuable Bitcoin for a bunch of random tokens by a bunch of random people for some prepaid good or service that may or may not be produced in the future. ICOs right now, many of them are based on hype, PR, and a lot of very complicated, hard to read, and hard to understand white papers. And I have a theory that sometimes that's by design. Some of the white papers are great. You're going to hear from Constant, and I'm sure McLean Wilkinson, who I believe 15 later, has a good white paper. I don't know the third person, sorry. But yeah, you have to use judgment. And if you want to participate in ICOs, that's fine. It's just, you're kind of playing musical chairs and betting that you're not going to be the one understanding what the user stocks. Okay, idea number 4, we're almost done, and then we're ready for questions. You guys got some good, embarrassing questions? Good. Okay. Smart contract projects need great coders, including auditors, human auditors, but also automated auditors, which Constant will talk about. Software and lawyers. It is going to be very hard for you to overturn the legal profession or replace lawyers without them. I was a lawyer for many years, and I did not like the kind of how they have, well, I think almost every professional group eventually exists to protect themselves. So the Bar Association is not going to discipline their lawyers very much for malpractice because they're all members of the club, okay? So you have a system where, in the US especially, lawyers have a lot of power. We have presidents who are lawyers, we have law firms where partners average $2 million a year profits per partner. And, so how are you going to replace lawyers? It's going to be tough. I don't think the AI is there yet, partly because it's very hard to understand the economic intent. So do people know what smart contracts are? Does anyone want to volunteer a quick definition of smart contracts? Okay, how many of you don't know what smart contracts are? Be honest. I'll be honest, I don't know what I'm talking about. Okay, good. Thank you for your honesty. Okay, smart contracts are just like regular contracts. Two people or more agree to exchange something of value. And the difference is smart contracts don't want to use the legal or judicial system. There's no arbitrator. Everything's self-contained. So imagine no ability to go to small claims, no ability to be sued if you're a business, because everything's already written out in the smart contract. So you have to have very smart developers who have done a lot of trial and error and work with lawyers to make sure that the code matches, the code as executed, even by an attacker, matches the intent of the party. In law, we call it the letter of the contract has to match the spirit of the contract. And so if you want code to be law, which I think a lot of us here do, the technologists are pro-tech, you gotta have lawyers involved to make sure that thousands of years or hundreds of years of legalese and litigation and contract writing and complicated clauses, the reason lawyers charge so much, the little oligopoly, let's call it, or cartel, is that they have a system where when contracts are breached and the letter does not match the spirit of the contract, you have something called equity in law, in court, where a judge or jury can say, you know what, that was totally unfair. That's not what you guys meant to do at all. You're just taking advantage of a poorly written contract, or a contract that your lawyer cleverly wrote to expose the other side to risks and harms and loss of funds that they didn't expect. So have you guys all heard of the Dow hack or parity hack? Okay, so the Dow hack and parity hack were hacks were very complicated smart contracts coded by very brilliant people. A lot of investors got very excited about their ICOs, and they lost a lot of money because attackers figured out subtle problems in the code. I'll get a shout out to Eyal, who's watching my live stream, told me about this. But basically, the parity wallet especially is very interesting because of the co-founder and co-creator of Solidity, which is the programming language that powers Ethereum. He's a co-founder of Ethereum too, I believe. He did not want to do he didn't think he needed to do an audit of parity. And he found a parity and then got hacked. So if the co-founder of Solidity can't code things correctly without audits, then maybe all smart contracts and ICOs that use complicated smart contracts, maybe all of them should be audited. Okay. So I don't think you can just have software or coders or software or just humans doing this. It used to be a hybrid for a while, partly because for humans, economic intent, and for humans aren't enough because for software can brute force. And I think Richard will talk about that in a little bit. And these are all my hypotheses. This is my kind of assertion. And then this last one is, I think you're going to need lawyers throughout. You can't just be like, oh, let me take a brain dump of Terrence Yang, and then, great, we don't need a side and Blue Factory, whatever. So I think you're going to need lawyers to interpret things because there are a lot of things in smart contracts that, even though we will get exponentially more complicated smart contracts, and we'll be able to do them, there'll be a long time before you get rid of human beings. It's billions of years of evolution. Human brain is amazing. I don't think a computer can get there unless we make huge advances in BCI, neural networks, AI, and all that stuff. Okay. All right, last idea. Work on Silicon Valley and San Francisco projects in person with each other. I see a lot of founders, both in crypto and outside crypto, who work remotely or rarely meet. It's like you're 40-minute drive away or 40-minute ride away from each other. How come you're not meeting every day? So working together in person helps produce a great culture if you can do it, and it helps you figure out very quickly if you should be working with your teammates or co-founders. So I want you guys to think about working in person with other people from Silicon Valley. Exceptions might include Point, which I'm advising in Los Angeles because one of the founders there comes up here all the time. Richard is, I guess, technically in Vancouver. He comes up here. He's down here all the time. So find projects where you can work with people in person because I think the talent's still here. So my bias, could be wrong, is that many of the best ICOs and crypto projects that succeed, remember we want to be like the top 10, 20 that produce all the value and make great returns for us. A lot of those will still come from Silicon Valley. Okay, thank you, and please email me if you have questions or tweet out if you actually enjoy this talk. Any questions? Yes.
So, regarding that comment you mentioned, that teams working together,
Yeah.
history, a lot of these new cryptos have panels of experts. Is that what we're looking for too? Like how long have they been together? Drill down and see how they actually really.
Yes.
Yeah. So would you mind repeating your question?
Oh, sure. So the question, I believe, was, does it matter, part of the question was, does it matter how long the team has been working together, and are they experts in the field?
Yeah, and just because they have a name or work somewhere, does that make them valuable or believable?
Yeah. So, okay. Yeah. So, does a big name make them valuable? Let's say Tim Draper, right? Does he matter to Bancor and Tesla? Two very successful ICOs. I would say yes, at least in the short term, because he gives massive social proof. And we're all very busy. There are thousands of ICOs, every week? I don't even know now what the number is. It's ridiculous. So we can't keep track. And it's very hard to tell, right? If I support 20 ICOs, you guys supported me tonight, probably. Does that mean anything? Maybe not. But if Tim Draper comes from has part of 4 generations of VCs, and he's been very successful with Draper Fisher, and he's a renowned angel investor. If he supports an ICO, that means something. He's not going to just pick any random project. So it probably means the ICO is at least legal, has a credible team, and has a good idea, right? So proof is still in the pudding. They have a lot of work to do. So the more they throw around Tim Draper's name 6 months from now, the more worried I would be. But when they first did their ICO, it's fine because nobody knows who they are. There are many, many ICOs to pick from. Hard to tell. So if you want a quick pop, so there are many ways to make money trading ICOs, many ways to lose money too. One way to make money is to find projects early, get them on pre-sale. So I'm very famous for it should be more famous for my anti-portfolio, where I screwed up and did not invest in many successful projects, including in ICOs, and those include Lamasi Go, sorry, and also Metal, right? So if you can get in on a pre-sale because you're involved in the community, you're adding value, maybe your expertise in accounting, and maybe accountants or whatever, then get out there and try to offer value. Don't invest right away. I would look at a lot of ICOs. I have friends who looked at read over 100 ICO white papers and has not invested yet. Take your time. There's no rush. It's always good. Because tomorrow there will be a new hot ICO that nobody's ever heard of. So you don't need to invest in these days. I would take your time. I've made this mistake with angel investing multiple times. So yeah, take your time. Does that answer your question? Yeah. Okay. Anyone else? Yeah, go ahead.
I'm like an old school investor, earnings and revenue momentum. Is there anything comparable to this?
Yeah, so in terms of momentum, I would say ICOs are all momentum. There's no value investing yet in ICOs. So if you talk about mean reversion, which some people like to do, my friend Dave, you're talking about reverting to basically zero because there is no fundamental value. They haven't produced a product. So you can say, right, we're going to present value they do everything they do in the white paper. They say they're going to do in the white paper when they're pre-product. Then yeah, the company will be very valuable, but the chances of them being able to successfully execute on a white paper, that's like executing on a business plan. I know from my startup investing that it is almost impossible for startups, unless you're Elon Musk, there's one of those, it's almost impossible for you to have a plan, follow it, and everything goes according to plan, where the feedback you get from the market is exactly what you expected in your white paper. So I think it's all momentum trading. You can look at that. There is a guy, Chris, Bernanke, yes, he's on Twitter, and he did a talk where he talked about current value and future expected, or current utility and future expected utility. I think in theory that's very valuable as a starting point. My issue is it looked like a very complicated Excel spreadsheet based on the webinar I saw, and also there is no current utility to the tokens when we have an initiative with it. The tokens are not very valuable. I'll give you an example of a token that was issued, or an ICO, where they already have users, and that's KIN, K-I-N. You guys heard of it? So it sounds like Kik because it's related to Kik, the social media app that 10 and 11-year-olds use or something. Anyway, so Kik is not doing well. I have a thesis, not contrarian, unfortunately, that Facebook is just going to destroy every social media startup out there for the next 5 years at least. Okay, they're copying all the features that succeed at Snapchat. And they are even looking at smaller startups that start to get traction in social media and either copying them or keeping an eye on them to buy them out early or pick them out cheap. So Kik is not doing well, and they raise a lot of money in ICOs, which to me shows that there's a lot of hype and momentum trading and not a lot of disciplined investing. Last question, sorry. Oh, that.
So there's lots of different industries where ICOs are happening. Every industry seems to have an ICO right now.
Yeah.
Which industries do you feel are most well positioned to benefit from ICO?
Okay, that's a great question. So the question is, which industries are best positioned to benefit from ICOs right now? And I would say any industry, so I would say that the ICO industry would benefit from ICOs that focus on security. Because if you keep having these smart contract audits that don't work, or people not getting audits and they're happy to be $50 million, $100 million, $150 million hacks, that's not good. So that's one area. Another area might be, so finding the killer apps is the tough question. I would say smart contracts, because they're already being used a lot. Somewhat complicated smart contracts in ICO. That's another area that could have opportunity for mainstream usage, especially if you have, for example, some sort of way to claw back or charge back your payments. So the problem with Ethereum smart contracts and just a lot of these tokens in general, it's final sale. And the problem is, in the US, in much of the developed world, we use credit cards where we're used to having the right to complain to the credit card company if complaining to the merchant doesn't work, and we can get the charges reversed, right? Comcast break me off again, they overcharge blah, blah, right? All merchants. So that's boom. So I would say it's something like that. I'm sorry I don't have a better answer for you, but that's where I love. Where I would not love is where companies, if you feel they're really strong, like Facebook, Google, Alibaba, if they're dominating and you see an ICO trying to take them out, that's probably not a great idea. Do not compete with big, innovative companies that are new and have very happy employees.
All right.
while we switch to slides, I want to ask you guys a question. The winner will get free beers every tonight, okay? Without cheating, without looking on your phone, what is the price of Bitcoin right now?
45.75.
Okay, put up your hand.
5,000 and above.
Wrong.
56.
56. Very, very close. Probably it will be 56 now. It's 56.2. So go have your free beers tonight. Alright, that's a crazy price. What is Ethereum right now? 300. It's not really hanging together. Alright, so as I earlier explained, Cryptominded started as this curated directory of resources in the cryptocurrency space. So at this event, what I want to do is share some of my favorite resources with you, because I believe like these are just really cool and you could all benefit from it. Are there traders, like people that are actually day trading in cryptocurrencies out here? Put up your hand. All right. Not too many, but if you do, CryptoPanic is a really useful website to stay on top of the latest news that is happening in the cryptocurrency industry. So there are news aggregators. You can see exactly like, okay, like the news around Bitcoin right now from all these different sites, Reddit, Twitter, etc. And one of my friends / community members created this, and I think it's really good. Caspers, and yeah, check it out. Essentially, it's a really good website to stay on top of the latest news, especially if you're trading. So the next one is actually kind of needs a backstory. Who knows 10x? Okay, there's quite a few already. So I was organizing this event in Shanghai a month ago, and I had a lot of trouble paying the venue because I couldn't pay them online with a credit card. So I had to transfer RMB, or like the Chinese currency essentially, to them to a business bank account in China. But I go to my bank and I go to the website and I can't transfer RMB. So how am I going to get this money to the venue? I couldn't pay online, I couldn't transfer. TransferWise didn't accept business transfers as well. And unfortunately, they did not accept cryptocurrencies yet. So as a business who's trying to pay other companies across the globe right now, and we are in cryptocurrencies, I signed up for 10x essentially to combat that problem, because now I can just have my cryptocurrencies, go there, pay with my card, without having to transfer Bitcoin into RMB or USD and transfer it over with a bank account. So this is essentially a way to actually start paying coffee with your Bitcoins over here.
How do you apply for it?
Yeah, just go to the website 10x.tech. It's not the best domain, but 10x.tech, and you can just apply on their website, or you can download the app. So if you go to the App Store, like the iTunes Store, the App Store on Android, you can download their app and you can apply for it. I believe you have to put on $15 or $10 in cryptocurrencies on your wallet first before applying for the card, but it should explain itself.
I think it works in the US.
Sorry?
I think it works in the US.
It does not? I wasn't sure. Like I live in Belgium, so there they actually issue the Visa cards through 10x. So I'm not entirely sure if they still work in the US, but bet they are working on it. And so the third resource is actually also the sponsor of this event. So I want to thank them. They're probably watching on the live stream right now. Unfortunately, they couldn't make it. But ICO Alert has been kind enough to help us sponsor the venue and allow me to be here essentially. So if you are interested in investing in ICOs, this is the website that lists all the ICOs that are happening, that are upcoming, and that have happened, and they create reports on interesting ICOs for you to read more about the ICOs, do the analysis behind it, and figure out whether it's an interesting ICO to invest in. So combined with the knowledge that Terrence just shared with you today, go have a look at this website to see all the ICOs that are happening. It's actually pretty crazy. I think right now, active ICOs, there is about 60 ICOs happening right now. which is, in my opinion, a little crazy.
All right.
Yeah.
Does that website have pre-sale information too?
They will, if it is a pre-sale, yeah. So they will put it behind brackets, behind the name as a pre-sale. So if you have to go to the toilet, want to grab a drink, we'll take a 5 or 50 minutes break, and afterwards we'll have the open stage candidates come up and talk about their projects. If you want to join the Slack community, which is like the Cryptominded community online with 1,450 members right now, globally, like located around the world, you want to come and join and like chat with them on Slack, chat about trading, mining, investing in ICOs, etc. Just go to community.cryptominded.com and yeah, apply for joining the community and we'll accept you. Just mention that you were at the event and we'll definitely accept. We're just manually vetting people now because of the Slack scam issues that have happened. For those people that know, since that we started doing this, we haven't had that issue anymore, so it's been good. All right, I'll let you guys know when we start again. If you want to grab it.
Oh yeah.
We'll make it a short break in 15 minutes probably.
Huh? Are you a part of the this thing is like yeah, I'm more on the blockchain. Regular It's good in the distributed side. In order to it's like a time, too long. I mean, that you yeah, that's why it's private. In other words,
I know. I just know about the technology. What's your opinion? But just like everything else, when people are
They said good.
right,
They said like hitting up the store.
right, and you know, they would tell me like putting real gold in it. So every you sort of figure out all of it. What time is it? Well, you just heard it. There's just like day trading, you could start trading in ICO, so you could just get whatever Ethereum, whatever coin that you use, and trade. The reason why ICO is that it's liquid. You can trade those coins for other people. You know, you trade in any of those coins you talk about for a bit. It may not be worth anything. You could get out, you can go get out, and go to it. And it but what the problem with other investors is if you bought Google, the first-day Google got started, even if you knew what Google was going to do for the future, you could still make money. You could not sell that even share. I mean, you could, but or people who knew it. But there's literally and now
I'm right. Just like
Nobody is really that experienced.
the gold rush.
It was for people in 2 weeks, and now I'm 20 something.
Oh yeah. I think I have one. Yeah, but I still have one.
Really? It's the problem with Coinbase.
As long as you don't risk it, we can recover it. I mean, everything is it takes a while to learn how you're supposed to use it. It's kind of, it took me a while to
Almost like it's something that you can say. Yeah, we have to always have they all have their own. There's something.
Yeah, I mean, you guys do pretty good, but yeah, I mean, if you would like me, but we need to have a country.
It's almost like a Tuesday. Yeah, like you put it. Wait, because you forget it for us. This one has something on last time, yeah. And then you do it like 3 times, like, what are all my compliments? You gotta be like, end up getting it to work if you don't remember it. It's all just moving to figure out what to do. I don't say we get it. Yeah, I mean, like, the biggest way to
Guys, talk about grades.
Well, we're talking about the idea. The idea is still how we do it. I'm not going to talk about that. I'm just going to talk about what we're doing and how we're approaching this problem. So my company, we're based in San Diego, and we are actually doing some blockchain stuff. I'm expecting about 2 minutes about kind of decentralizing it.
All right, have a seat. We'll start again. So just a small request to those that are presenting on the stage. If you wouldn't mind like sitting a little bit more in the front, if you can do a smooth transition, that would be great. All right, we get started again. Grab a seat.
Yeah, I didn't want to go on. What do you do?
Okay, if you wouldn't mind taking a seat, then we'll get started, okay?
Hi folks, we're super excited you guys are excited. We got 3 more presenters coming out though. I've been on my sales and topics over here. Actually, we just want to present basically 3 guys who think you guys would be interested in knowing about this. We're out explaining, actually taking this technology, applying it into, current industries, this is their use cases. So these guys are actually not doing this. A few months ago, or a few years ago, these guys were beginners just like yourself, looking into the space, trying to figure out what exists here. So we got these 3 guys here, and then we can go and help you navigate.
Yeah, there's a lot of time actually network afterwards, so if you want to connect with other people, there's plenty of time. So I want to introduce you guys to Joe from District OX. This is one of the projects on Ethereum that I actually, one of the first projects I got interested in. And I think it's really interesting what they're doing. So I'll give the mic to Joe and he will explain a little bit what they're doing, and then we'll have a chance to ask him questions. So they have done an ICO, they're building blockchain applications, they have Solidity devs, building smart contracts and everything. So if you really want to get to know-hows, this is your chance.
Joe? Hi everyone, I'm Joe. I'm a project lead at District OX. We are building a network of centralized marketplaces powered by Ethereum, Aragon, and IPFS. So we're building a framework for communal marketplaces. When I say communal marketplaces, it's like an Airbnb or eBay, Uber is a communal marketplace, 2 sides of our marketplace. These participants on both sides. All these marketplaces have done a really good job of harnessing the powers of decentralization. The beneficiaries of all the beneficiary of the proceeds and everything is limited to a very small few. For normal private owners, because they're all private companies, despite the fact that they're really powered by very large use cases. So what we're really doing is trying to build a framework that allows people to harness the power of these network effects, tap into themselves, and really kind of participate in the decision-making processes of these companies, participate in value share, and say what the platforms that they're using.
So one of the projects that they have actually deployed as a district, which they call district, is Ethlens, right? So could you maybe a little bit explain what is Ethlens and what is the benefit of having it on District OX?
So Ethlens is a centralized job board, kind of like an Upwork or an Elance, but built on Ethereum. The benefits of being built on Ethereum really is, well, cost low to maintain servers. We powered by 14 smart contracts. They've been deployed. Been working on the mainnet since January. So it's been about 500 people signed up, 300 or so jobs listed. It's kind of proven itself to work in that sense. We haven't had any issues, no bugs. Just kind of works. So that's one of the benefits of being deployed on here. The maintenance costs are kind of low. Why it's powerful on District 0x is, well, anytime a district on our network is launched, it can deploy corresponding Aragon. Aragon is an operating system for decentralized organizations, which allows everyone to take part in the ownership and the voting process of these networks. So once Aragon is deployed and we can move in the governance process of Ethlens does, anyone can take part in deciding how they want to see Ethlens monetized, how they want to see the platform evolve, and really how they want to see any revenue generated distributed.
So essentially, the actual users of the platform get the chance to vote on what the platform should be about, how it should be monetized, what should be done with the profits, etc. Right? Yeah, so that's pretty cool. Also, if you're interested in actually learning cryptocurrencies, check it out, ethlets.com, because that's one way to connect cryptocurrencies instead of buying it. Is if you have some skills like designer or like you're a developer, translator, whatsoever, this your service is there and you can actually earn Ether. So, in my opinion, District.OX is actually an amazing experiment because now the actual users of the platform get to decide what should happen with the platform. But one thing that has been, like, I have been questioning about the platform or about the idea is, aren't people just going to vote for their own good? So like the company is making a lot of profit, like this marketplace makes a lot of profit, aren't the users just going to vote for distributing the profits either way? Because that favors them and not necessarily the marketplace. Like, what is your opinion on that?
Sure. So, I mean, while we're a securities lawyer may not disagree, but as we do, we're going to sell securities in any of these marketplaces. It's really a token that allows us to participate in the governance of it. The way that the value is distributed, really, people, you can look at it almost like if you were a shareholder in a company, why would you not want to see the company continue to grow? You're going to want to see the value reinvested in the platform to increase the user experience, increase the user base. Really, the platform we're building is all powered by network effects. So to be able to increase the user experience, you need more people on these platforms to drive that cost and really increase the benefits for everyone. So you see value being reinvested in the platform itself rather than extracting it.
So if anyone has been following District.OX, they've realized that a lot of people are actually submitting ideas that should be deployed as a district. Joe, what is the most exciting district, like in your opinion, that you have come across lately, and why is that exciting for you as District.OX founder?
Yeah, so Decentraland recently did an ICO. They're building a virtual reality world. You can actually use a token to buy land plots in this virtual reality world, and the land plots should have value because, well, they're the adjacency of the land plots, and they can be next to a value of a land plot that has some cool stuff built on it. Maybe they're talking to like fun fairs, some other projects, like casinos, something like that. So you might have a project in the virtual world with a land plot, and someone else wants to buy a land plot next to it to attract someone to their whatever they're building. So there needs to be a market to actually sell this land. Where almost like an Airbnb, a lot of real estate will view this networking kind of rent or sell real estate in this digital world. We think it's kind of exciting. It gives us an opportunity to kind of sandbox a real world application in the virtual world. The fact of the matter is, while this platform could run something like Airbnb, we're very far away from it. The period itself can't support anything like that. We don't expect it to be able to for probably 5 years at least. Lots of scaling needs to happen. So we're kind of looking at, we had this opportunity to build a lot of platforms, like a general framework built that allow people to build any sort of marketplace they want to. So as we see, like it'll be powered by kind of like a long tail, a lot of small marketplaces that add value to very specific niches or very specific groups.
Does anyone know or have ever heard of Second Life? Yes. So Decentraland is essentially the virtual reality version of that, and you can physically buy and sell it, right? Yeah. So that's actually pretty cool. Like I think when I first heard about virtual reality, that's exactly what I imagined like would be really cool. So people not getting out of their houses anymore because they're living in this virtual world, and then now people can essentially vote like how this world should be run through the district on District.OX. Is there any questions from the audience? Maybe? Yes, here.
Ooh, I prefer. Actually, a big question now. So there's a lot of platforms like, let's just throw out a few like Neo or Quantum or something where there are platforms where we can build a decentralized application and essentially have it hosted there or use that as a platform. Would you say that you're similar or different in that sense? It seems like with a lot of those platforms, it's external dev teams that have to kind of build their product to put it on, like YouTube, for instance. Whereas with District, it seems like you guys are the ones building the people vote, and then it seems like I'm seeing that you're building it instead of the other companies. Is that accurate?
Yeah, so longer term, our vision is really, we're building a tooling for people to build their own marketplaces. In the interim, we're building, we have 3 marketplaces planning currently. And then we have communities will be able to propose and vote on the next 5 that we build. We're going to kind of tie all these together before the creation interface is launched with this district registry. I'm not sure if it's like an ad chain, but they have this token created registry model that allows people to propose ideas to the network and people can kind of vote whether they get access or not. That's going to be tied together with like a directory, network-wide search, network-wide escrow, various aspects that kind of build a moat around the districts on our network and incentivize them to want to be a part of that. I'm not sure if that gives you a question.
Yeah, so like also District OX is built on top of Ethereum. So they're not necessarily competing with these different platforms like Quantum and Neo. They're actually building on top of such platforms to allow this decentralization of the markets.
So, you said you're built on Ethereum. Are you built on the public Ethereum or a corporate Ethereum?
Yes.
And is the transaction rate evolved as far as the types of applications you're able to develop?
Sorry?
The transaction rate, is that a problem? Are you running into that as the primary blocker for
Yeah,
types of applications?
we are running. At the moment, yeah, like gas costs are a little high. So Eastlands, for example, probably 6 months ago, it would cost about 5 cents to create a profile and to mine the transaction and publish that. Now it's gotten up to about 60 cents. So it's starting to become a little bit cost prohibitive. Not there yet. We're kind of looking at the spam protection at the moment, but yeah, scaling. There's lots of scaling initiatives in the works. I think are going to solve these things. There's also lots of other Ethereum or EVM-based platforms in the works too. So we think interoperability solutions like Cosmos may be able to tie these together and sort of help us expedite the process there. But yeah, at the moment, it's definitely starting to rear its head. Yeah, gas costs are expensive. Something that needs to be done. Scaling needs to occur for us to be able to really operate at scale.
Thank you. So, Joe, I just had a question. You suggested, I guess, one of the districts that you guys are voting for is regarding the central line. But the central line had their own ICO, so I think they're already well funded, and I'm sure they're still starting to really have some, like, alpha release of it. Why do you feel that might be more worth it than, say, the other district, which is more of the high value program, which would, I think, help, with some of the ICOs, right? It would provide some kind of transparency in when tokens or payments release, when they meet some of their milestones, the roadmap that they propose.
You're talking about Hive, like that's one of the proposals for our district, right?
Yeah, certainly Hive's a very cool project and one that we're excited about too. One that we hope that we end up getting built. The creation market's a kind of more abstract concept, so normally go to the central land example. Why do we think that it makes sense for us to build the central land? Well, the central land is not trying to monetize the sale of these marketplaces. The sale of these marketplaces, right now we're building names are to build marketplaces, sell EMS names. Like, there isn't another good option than this. With the central land, if that platform gains traction, we think that there's going to be an option for people to be able to sell this stuff. So someone's going to be monetized, and it's kind of do it as likely or logically fit for us. That's built on Ethereum. It's very easily transferable asset. It's also another ERC-20. This is logically fit for our platform. But our token holders can benefit in the sense that they can choose how that marketplace is run, how it's monetized, and what they think is money. The fact that it's the central land asset being sold doesn't mean that the central land is particularly in value creation.
It's really the marketplaces that are in the central land itself. So like the selling of a house from that of in the central land itself, it's how they would cover that. And it's not really right?
Yeah, and I mean, so we have this open proposal process where we submit the ideas and the token holders code on it, so as we see it working, it essentially doesn't have traction by the time like the boat's got the end, well, we probably aren't going to see the boat getting steered towards essentially boat holders are voting any consideration of that. So.
Okay, last question.
What portion of your assets are you keeping on the blockchain versus off?
Yeah, so we actually published our quarterly report yesterday where we just did an overview of our financials and have a transparency page with district0x.io/transparency. We have our multi-sig wallet link there. All our assets are in the multi-sig at the moment. So Ethereum, we've been talking to the maker team. They're working on stablecoin. The DAI is their longer term vision, but they have a simple DAI, which they're doing private beta right now, which allows the hedge to USD essentially by keeping the money on the blockchain. So that's we envision keeping all on the blockchain in our wallet where we can use that much money at any given time.
It's actually pretty interesting because you can see exactly how much they have, what they're doing with it, how they're spending the salaries, etc. So this is really an interesting future of running companies, networks, and marketplaces. If I may ask you one last question, there's a lot of bright minds in this room. I was like reminded when Terrence asked the question, like who knows what smart contracts, or who doesn't know what are smart contracts, when we heard a few hands went up. So I realized, oh yeah, like San Francisco, Silicon Valley is a lot more tech-minded than most places I go to. Is there anything that you come across in the community or for District0x that you say, like, we're looking for those kind of people in the community? Maybe any of you here could help.
Closure script developers, specifically, our platform for closure scripts. So if you're a closure script developer, we'd love to chat.
All right, so here we are. Go ahead and chat with him. Thank you, Joe. So next up is McLean. Someone I actually personally don't really well know, but Brian is very well connected with him and really excited about what he's doing. So maybe you can give him a short introduction.
Yeah, actually, I knew McLean way before he started cryptocurrency. We actually went to high school together a really long time ago at Charlotte School in North Carolina. And actually, before I got interested in blockchain, before I even really understood what it was, he was starting businesses in this space and was really interested in Bitcoin around 2013. So like the first real conversation I had in this space was actually with him, me reaching out to him. I hadn't talked to him in like a decade. Asking him what was this about, asking him, I think I even asked you for like resources and information in this space or whatever, and I knew absolutely nothing about it. So it's kind of cool now that you went into Bitcoin, now you're into and anyway, go play new site or anything. So McLean's actually in this space. He's has different products dealing with encryption and actually he can explain a lot better than myself. So anyway, McLean will.
Everybody, my name is McLean Wilkinson. I am one of the co-founders and CEO of Decipher. Decipher is a security and encryption platform for distributed systems. We support data platforms like Kafka and obviously blockchain, which I'll talk about today. For blockchain, we are building decentralized key management and cryptographic access controls for centralized applications. If you think about one of the fundamental limitations of public blockchains is their relatively limited ability to deal with private data. This has been the motivation for a lot of the enterprise, private, or permission blockchains, and the inability to easily manipulate, store, share, manage private data is really limited the scope of some of the more interesting applications that could theoretically be built on top of Ethereum or Bitcoin or things like IPFS. And that's the problem that we're solving. So we provide key management, encryption, and access controls for decentralized applications. We're giving the app developers a way to store, share, and manage private data on public blockchains. And in our view, if the apps are going to be an important thing in 3, 4, 5 years from now, this will have to be, or some sort of access control infrastructure will be part of the core stack for a lot of these applications. So if you're thinking about building things like a decentralized Dropbox, it's encrypted and shareable, or end-to-end encrypted group chats, for example, running on top of IPFS, patient controls of electronic medical records, where medical records be private, but if you're stored on IPFS, you don't want anyone in the world to be able to go. And examiners will still need to be able to share those records with the doctor, with the hospital provider, and the insurance company. One of the more interesting things was we started working on the blockchain version of this is the data marketplaces and data exchanges we started building on top of Decipher. So these are things like putting user browsing data or social media data on IPFS and being able to auction it off to advertisers, or putting self-driving car data, sensor data in encrypted data lakes, then auctioning that off to analytics on top of it. But I'll dive a little bit into the core technology that we have, which is something called proxy re-encryption. Proxy re-encryption is a type of public key encryption that allows you to switch the key that data is encrypted under. So you're able to re-encrypt the data without having to decrypt it in the middle. One way to think of it is a more scalable form of public key encryption. We think of public key encryption is very good for one-to-one communication. Let's say I wanted to share a message with Brian, I just encrypted his public key. I send it to him, he can encrypt it with his public key. That works fine. Where it doesn't work so well is if I wanted to share that same message not with Brian, but with everyone in this group. I'd have to encrypt that message 100 times, send it across the network 100 times. So that's obviously not particularly scalable, and it's pretty funky. With proxy re-encryption, I can just encrypt it once with my key and then delegate access to as many people as I want. And I can also revoke access. It's basically, think of how you do access controls. If you're running a web app, you have some server that can determine who does and who does not have access to certain data sets. If you think of the DApp world or the blockchain world, we don't have this concept of a central trusted server. We have to use some other mechanism to control who doesn't have access to data. So with proxy encryption, we can basically embed those access controls directly into the encryption itself, so we're just relying on that opposed to some trusted server. That's granted a very difficult thing to explain. So I'm sure walk through again on a more visual layer. Let's say Alice is trying to share a message, an encrypted message with Bob. She has her own public-private key pair. Bob has his public-private key pair. She wants to share message M. What she can do is she encrypts message M, gets ciphertext A, and now she wants to give Bob access to ciphertext A. So what she can do is she can take Bob's public key, her own private key, take those two as inputs to create what we call a re-encryption key. All this re-encryption key can do is transform ciphertext A into ciphertext B. But the key piece is that it can't decrypt in the middle. So let's say she stores this message on IPFS. It's encrypted under her key in IPFS. She gives this re-encryption key to the IPFS layer. IPFS can transform the data so that Bob accesses it. It appears to him as if it's encrypted under his key. That whole time, IPFS can't see the plaintiff's data. It ignores it. This may be a little bit more complicated than a short talk it allows me to explain, but basically we have, we run on top of Ethereum. It's an ERC20 token, and we have our equivalent miners are what we call these re-encrypted nodes. So these are the nodes that are responsible for holding these re-encrypted keys and applying the re-encryption functions. And if we want to be a re-encryption node in our network, we have to stake our token. So that's the function of the token in our network. And we have a challenge protocol where if a re-encryption node is either maliciously or inadvertently providing re-encryption incorrectly, they could be challenged by anyone in the network and forfeit their coins. The other thing to note is that Decipher is agnostic to the data in the storage layer, so we can run against IPFS, against SIA, Short.io, or even centralized file systems like S3. We're working with, actually, Giuseppe Antonessa is considered one of the fathers of proxy re-encryption, and one of the co-authors of the original AFDH proxy re-encryption algorithm. And we're also working with David Evans from UVA, their security frontier computation research group. And we're fortunate to be backed by a lot of great traditional and crypto investors, including Y Combinator, Polychain Capital, Michael Novogratz, and a few other investors here. We are building the privacy layer for public blockchains, very interested in connecting with any enterprises or EF developers who build on top of Decipher or potentially integrate with other projects. We're also hiring for a pretty broad range of roles, particularly in the dev evangelist / open source community management space. My email is decipher.com. If you're interested in either contributing to the project or building on top of it, yeah, GitHub, it's just github.com/decipher, and you must have the active dev/channel, which is just linked to on the website at decipher.com. Thanks a lot.
Thank you, McLean. So based on that discussion, does anyone have any questions to begin? Stefan?
Once it's encrypted, somebody from party A sends it to party B, right? What will prevent the person who received the packet from basically sending out that information to others unencrypted, right? So,
yeah, so once the recipient gets the data and they're able to decrypt it, they have the text data. At that point, the role is sort of over, so they can certainly copy that data and send it on. So that's sort of outside the scope of our model. And unfortunately, that's not the case for any other encryption centralized.
I don't know if everyone knows, but basically NASDAQ is suing Miami Exchange because the guys in Miami Exchange got this code and then basically passed it on for their own benefit, right? So it made their cycle a lot shorter. So there are just regular companies who basically attach stuff to files so they can track the files to make sure that you can, although you get the access to it, as soon as you start distributing to others, then it gets red flag, right? So to me, there's a lot of good uses for just the one-step encryption, but I think for it to, maybe a lot of the exchanges or for the finance companies to maybe use it, if you can track it, so make sure that it doesn't just get distributed after the first initial pass. I'm not sure if you can do it with what you have with the technology, but it would be pretty hugely useful to make sure that you can actually contain that information.
Yeah, and I forget the names, but I've seen a few of those companies, and I think I'm not that familiar with other technologies, but I think they have the data that gives themselves a degree of control over getting to see it. I don't see how, the caveat that I'm not super familiar with how it works. I don't see why you could grab something like that inside of Decipher. So you have the encryption layer from Decipher, you want the access control, and then this sort of secondary safeguard, and you have this degree of accountability something does for the law.
Just kind of add on to that or whatever. Like we usually think of like I give you control to like one file inside of the system, whatever. And that's really valuable information. I'm going to go take that as somewhere else. Where this I see being really useful is when you have an entire file system of lots and lots of like thousands of files, and all of a sudden one person inside your system no longer gets access to that. We have situations where somebody's let go from the organization, whatever you have, like it's our family business. We have many cases where somebody went into the system immediately, grabbed a whole bunch of valuable information, and sold it to our head, to be able to do that. This is one of those things where it'd be very valuable to where when this person loses access to it in a decentralized manner, how do we cut that off? Just not because we're getting one file, but because there are many, 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 many different files inside that this one key allows you to do. Is that accurate?
Yeah, I think that's interesting. We actually cite both device management and use case in our white paper. So you can imagine the enterprise has some central data repository, and they're provisioning access to cell phone, laptops, etc. Organization. It could be both a encrypting key, which grants access to that particular device, or the device is lost, and the lost device lost all the data.
Actually, I'm being told we have very little time to be able to do this. So Yeah, but anyway, thank you very much.
Thank you. Just want to give everyone their time that we promised. So Richard Ma from Potsdam is next, and he will explain what they're doing. So he actually reached out to me through the meetup.com messaging system, because we are indeed allowing people to do their open state pitch here. And I actually found it really interesting that here in San Francisco, a lot of people contacted me, whereas in other locations like Shanghai and London, it was a lot less popular. But I guess that has to do with your entrepreneurial spirit here. So next, Richard Ma.
Really nice being here and talking to you guys. Actually, really enjoyed Terrence's presentation. And I think in his presentation, he talked about security auditing, and that's what we do. So I want to just talk about the future that I see for Ethereum. And I think that in this current environment, that's something that's getting lost, is the fundamental value of smart contracts. So the value I see in smart contracts is that in the future, they're not going to be used for token sales. I think they're going to be used to replace a lot of fundamental institutions that today rely on fiat money and rely on computer systems and rely on lawyers to and in the future, I think those things will rely on smart contracts. So, for example, something that is like a $1 trillion industry, insurance, is very applicable and can be eventually in the future governed by smart contracts. And so that's the future I believe in. And basically, our company, Quantscan, we're building a protocol that will secure all smart contracts. So currently, right now, the auditing system is that individual companies like Zeppelin, the Consensus, they will schedule out months in advance many companies that do smart contract auditing. And every company needs 2 smart contract audits because for these token sales, they're putting millions of dollars on the line, and sometimes they get hacked. Like I think 4 days ago, Smart Millions got hacked for $450,000, and then I think Terrence also did the other bigger examples. This is going to become a bigger and bigger problem because the growth of smart contracts has been enormous. So in the last 4 months, the number of smart contracts went from 500,000 smart contracts to 2 million smart contracts. So it's a 4x increase in the number of smart contracts in the last 4 months. So I think next year probably it'll double, maybe quadruple again. And humans can no longer handle the scale of auditing all of these smart contracts. So as the number of smart contracts doubles or quadruples again, the number of hacks will increase by a factor of 2 or a factor of 4. So our company is basically building a scalable way to audit all of these smart contracts. So currently, we just finished auditing the Request Network, and they're a token sale that had a $30 million sale. And our goal is that with each audit that we do, we're going to automate more of the process, and we're building a protocol on top of Ethereum to handle all of these automatic audits. So in our system, basically, for non-technical people, they can use something called a QS scan. It's similar to Etherscan, where they can see the results of audits that were done on projects before they invest. So, for example, there are all these hot upcoming ICOs. You can go online and see whether they were audited and what type of errors they had before you put your hardware their those projects. And then for developers, the value is that instead of waiting weeks to months to get an audit, you can do it in minutes, and it's very cheap. So I think that by having this system, it will actually increase adoption of smart contracts because it's much easier for developers to make something that's safe. And ultimately, that will drive the future that I see for the future. And yeah, so our team is basically me and 4 PhDs that have spent years doing software verification. And they've been doing software verification for medical devices like pacemakers, things in automobiles, and like electrical grids. All these things that conventionally have very strict standards, we're applying those standards to smart contracts. It's like a universal standard. So with our partnerships, we're solidifying the brand that's associated with this high standard. And I think that's something that I want to contribute to the because each event I go to, I feel like there's a special kind of passion that's associated with crypto. And I want to make sure that the mainstream people, they don't just hear about these hacks, but they also understand the future values, right, of these projects. And yeah, I am the engineering director at Facebook, Kevin Kane, and we have a really powerful team behind this. And actually, I also invented something last week called proof of pairing. This is the way we build a solid pairing community. And actually, in the last 4 days, we've gained 3,000 members in our Telegram based on proof of pairing. So that's our project. Yeah, I don't want to too long.
Are there any questions for Rachel? Yes. Do you train neural networks to discover security exploits? And if you do, how do you safely contain that?
Thank you for the microphone. Yeah, so I was actually a data scientist on Wall Street before I did this. I actually retired from doing data science. And I think neural networks are applicable for some applications, but not in the way that people think of AI. Neural networks are purely a way to train data. So the way that we do these software audits is that we use static analysis, lightweight formal verification, model checking, and these types of software verification techniques that were proven. Because I understand, I've used neural networks extensively in trading, and they're like they're more like a model fitting technique. So you have a high error rate, and with security audits, you can't really tolerate a high error rate or any error rate. So, that's my comment on neural networks.
Anyone else? All right. Oh, one more question. So, is there some probabilistic element to this, either 100% or what happens? What's the probability?
So basically what happens is there are these well-known vulnerabilities. There's about 25 of them. And we just find software ways to isolate vulnerability. And then we also have a way to check, we use humans, crowdsource humans to check more broad categories. And the way we do that is we put a bounty on the smart contract before it's deployed. And so the person who submits it puts the bounty, and then human verifiers can go and try to submit bugs that will break the smart contract or steal the funds. Or a lot of times these hacks are like they lock the funds, so nobody can even get at them. It just like destroys the project. So these humans would get paid if with about $100. So from a probabilistic point of view, if you get enough humans to look at it, it actually generates a very positive, and you have very incentivized. You reduce the chances of and in the future, actually, in our roadmap, we plan to do insurance on smart contracts down the line to further secure this last little chance of hacks.
Thank you so much, Richard. So this is actually the first time I hear about this project, and I think this is so critical for the future of, well, a lot of people here are trying to connect you with Max Lane, because indeed, like what people are hearing, a lot of hearing is like, oh, there's all these hacks on smart contracts. And it's not necessarily because smart contracts or solidity is bad, it's just because it's very hard and you're dealing with money, and the error rate essentially has to be 0. Whereas in normal software development, you essentially like, oh, if there's a bug on the website, like, you kind of can deal with it, and like you can solve it, and there's no harm done with it. Here in this case, like, you can't change the smart contract anymore after it's been deployed, and a little bug could cause your funds to be blocked in forever. So yeah, thank you very much, Richard, and this is very important. So if anyone is actually smart contract development, so now I have like 5 minutes for anyone else who wants to present on the open stage. I believe there was one project. Yeah.
So I'll try to keep this quick. My name is Rodney Richard. I'm with Volk. And Volk, we are a company that's building, how many of you have heard of Ethereum Swarm? Ethereum Swarm, file storage. So with Swarm, we're taking that and working with in a working group with the Ethereum Swarm team to turn Swarm from just being a file storage tool to something that allows for NoSQL databases. So includes record storage, querying, some basic functionality that we think is very important for the decentralized apps of the world. We talked to and surveyed a number of decentralized apps, and many of them might say are 99.9% decentralized, except for a Postgres database or a MySQL database. So they're using Bigtable. A lot of those reasons are because it's so expensive. If you're doing a highly transactional application that's decentralized, you can't do it all on the blockchain. It becomes too expensive. You do 1 million transactions a year or more as you grow, and you become a large, successful decentralized app. You find out that it becomes untenable. Also, if you're a believer in decentralized applications, and you have a centralized data storage mechanism, whether it's just for one piece that you need that's not decentralized, or it's because it's just the quickest and dirtiest way to get it out there, you open yourself up for kind of a reputation hit. There's potential for legal attacks because you might make claims out there. There's also security attacks that most would all believe in the sense that you go to a decentralized way of building your app to avoid all of those key flaws. So what we're doing is, just like you might think of BitTorrent or how Swarm works, you have these huge files that is really made well. So if you have video, music, or images, you upload it, and it gets chunked up and put on thousands of computers, and you go back and request it. That's really inefficient if you're storing, like, essentially it's JSON packets, right? The key value pair. So you don't need to chunk it up as much. You don't need to have all of the systems in place to do the type of storage that you might need to keep relationships, transactions, other things. You're used to doing millions of them per day, per month, per year, whatever it might be, and it's not efficient to keep going on the blockchain to do that. So what we're doing is working with Victor Tron and the rest of his team to adapt it and allow people to be able to use Swarm in a way that is more efficient, serves the purposes of the database solution that they may be substituting with a lesser decentralized product. And as node storage providers, we think that there is a great advantage to allowing people to not just make their computers available and get compensated for storing data, but also if you're an uploader of data, you can also charge people for accessing it, so that there's a way for you to not just get paid for storing data, but also uploading. Create an ecosystem to where our woke token would be able to be used to pay for the retrieval in a way that we would be paying for storage, but also access to other content. We've been working on this product and I guess variations for the last year, I'd say. And right now, what we found in building some of the applications that we had piloted, that there was this lacking database. And the database that we expect to build is going to be something that only the top decentralized apps will need in some form or fashion. And we're excited to be trying to solve that problem.
Any questions for? So I have one question while I walk there. How did the name Woke came to be? Do you know what it actually means in my language?
Cloud, right?
Yeah. It is. Yes, it's cloud in Dutch.
Hey, thanks. Do you know Big Chain B?
Yes, I heard of Big Chain B.
Yes, exactly. What is the key difference to what they do?
So I'd say the biggest thing that's different between Big Chain and us is that we're built for, Swarm is built to work primarily on Ethereum. And Ethereum being where many of the ICOs and decentralized apps are playing, that's where we decided to focus. Big Chain is taking a broader approach and trying to work across different blockchains. We just wanted to keep our focus. We're about a team of 10 people, and we think that it's the biggest bang for our buck. We also think that there will be some distinctions in the incentivization model. So the incentivization for uploading content as well as providing storage and management are some of the things that we think will be.
All right, thank you. Give him a round of applause. So did you guys like the concept of the open stage? Just put up your hand if you did. All right, that's very cool. That means we're gonna keep doing that. Doesn't work in every country, but here it definitely works. So earlier on in the evening, I told you guys I've been working on this thing called a CoinWiki, and if you've been in cryptocurrencies for a while, you probably know CoinMarketCap. You may have heard of token market, and there's a few players out there that are actually doing this. But what I realized is that not all tokens are created equal. Unlike stock, tokens, unlike stock where a stock always represents a percentage of the underlying value of the company, that doesn't count for tokens. So how can you do value investing, which doesn't happen that much yet, but probably will happen in the future if you don't know what the underlying value of the token is. So for example, Nike, if you have 100 of their coins, that actually represents one legal share in their company, non-voting legal share in their company. If you invest in DGX, the token is actually backed by gold, so the value you're investing in is gold. If you're investing in 10x, you get dividends. Every time someone does a payment, pays their coffee, they pay a transaction fee, and you, as a token holder, get part of that transaction fee. So how can you invest in a token without understanding the underlying value? And that's basically the problem we are trying to solve right now through the power of community. So we have a community of 1,500 members, and it's growing daily. But essentially, we're building out this CoinWiki, which looks like this, and it's not animating right now because it's a PDF. So maybe I can scroll. No, that doesn't work. It's a bummer. Just go to the website in a few days and it will look like this. So basically we already started with the beta, but what we're trying to do here is give people an understanding that you have to understand the purpose of the token, the value of the token, if you want to invest in it. And so what I said earlier on is people started sharing Cryptominded as this website where they would go and learn about cryptocurrencies. And one thing that I personally think is very toxic in the cryptocurrency community is that a lot of communities and websites are kind of like making money off the ICOs and just putting out like whatever like they get paid for. And I personally think that's not a very good model for beginners to like not a good sign for beginners to learn at, because they're getting pushed in this direction. So like, this is a good coin, this is a bad coin, this is a good ICO, this is a bad ICO. Without understanding the fundamentals, without understanding what makes a good ICO, what does not make a good ICO, and what makes a good token and not. So with the Coin Wiki, we're trying to help people give this factual database of what is a token about, who's the team behind the token, what are the price history events, what were their ICO statistics, what is the latest news related to this token, but most importantly, what is the value underlying the token? Because there's a lot of tokens that actually don't have any value, or they're a utility token, but you have to understand what is what. So what we want to do with this is then eventually start teaching people through courses how to actually figure out what is a good token and what not through this factual database. So if you're interested in helping with the Coin Wiki and think this is an interesting concept and see yourself getting in this vision, just come and chat with me, join the Cryptominded community, and we'll basically hand out some t-shirts to people that help us fill in the wiki, but that's really a detail. One cool thing is that this has been online for a week, and we have listed every token on the website, but not all the information is filled in, of course, but we're already like ranking number one page results for almost every altcoin out there. So you go VeChain, Regal Coin, Trump Coin, even that exists, Altcoin, whatever, and you go on Google, what is it? What is Trump Coin? What is Regal Coin? What is VeChain? And it will show up. So I really believe that this will be a pivotal database or website that people will go to eventually to figure out what these tokens are about. Because if you ask anyone on the street, where would they go to find out and learn about cryptocurrencies? Nobody is going to say CoinMarketCap, Token Market, or Reddit, or whatsoever. They're going to go to Google. So hopefully there's people in the audience here that would like to help with this. Then there's one other thing which we actually came up. I actually bought the domain for this yesterday, cryptobureaus.com. So we're doing these events, and this is the third event that we've done in a month, but it's a lot of work to organize this, and it's costly. So thank you, ICO Owner, for helping us sponsor this event. The previous two events I paid from my own pocket, and even though it's extremely exciting and it's very, very like rewarding to get to know all of you and have you all out here, it's a little bit unsustainable. So what we're going to do is one event every month, but in a different location around the world, and plan those ahead. But then what we want to do is we want to enable you as a community member to organize crypto beers by Cryptominded, and essentially just like have a chat, make a page, hip hop, and network about cryptocurrencies, talk about projects that you're building. So if there's any volunteers here in San Francisco that would like to potentially organize the crypto beers here in San Francisco, I don't live here, Brian doesn't live here. So if you're interested in it, feel free to come talk with me, because I think this would be really cool. I will help you like figure out how to plan and organize it. Yeah, it's just a very casual event. So crypto beers. And that's it. So thank you for coming. I hope you truly enjoyed this. There's time to network until 10 p.m. So if you still want to talk to some of the speakers that presented their projects, or you want to talk to your neighbor, grab a drink, feel free to do that. We'll let you know when you have to leave. It's 10 p.m. If you want to join the Slack community, go to community.cryptominded.com. If you want to get in touch with me, just come up to me. Like I have my business card with me, so my email address, phone number, and stuff is on it. That's my Twitter handle @thenomsma or @cryptominded.com for the Cryptominded brand. And yeah, if you have any feedback for the event as well, just come and chat with me. I am very open to hear what you have to say about the event, whether you liked it, what you would change next time. And thank you so much for coming. Mr. Miller, if you have some music. Yeah,
Stop.
Yeah, I guess so.
Now they stop for now.